Hey guys, sorry it's been a little bit since I've put a video out. I actually made a video a few days ago with the intent of posting it, but I jumped the gun and the Lord wasn't quite done with me yet. So I had to delete it and start over. But I did wait a few extra days just to kind of give him, to make sure that all the information that he wanted me to have to get to you, um, that I was had been shown what he needed me to see. Okay, uh, the Lord. It's important to wait on Him. It's important that you be obedient, and that's exactly what I'm trying to be in making these videos. Okay, you need to understand that the end times are here. That everything's getting set up right now. Right now, as we speak, things are going up, institutions are being set up. We have the one world order happening. We have the one money system getting ready to be implemented. We have the one world religion. That building's already been built. Okay? We have a lot of things that's getting ready to be implemented that we're just not prepared for. And I think that's why he had me start at the very beginning and start showing you all that this battle's been going on for 4,000 years. Just like I told you all, the seed war's been going on the whole time as well. So, I mean, it's been hidden. And a lot of people's not looking for it and they're not seeing it. And when you try to tell them about it, they laugh and think you're lying. These people, they get left behind. They're not going to laugh and think we're lying because, I mean, at that point, when Christ comes back and the harpazo happens, then everybody else is going to be standing there wondering what in the world happened and how did they miss it. Okay? These videos are things that we need to know right now because the things are being implemented right now. And we are dealing with some of the stuff right now and have been for the last 100 years and just didn't realize it. Okay? I told you in the first video that the Nephilim spirits are the ones that's all over this earth. What a lot of people are not realizing is that the people that's in control, these Nephilim are using them as puppets. Okay, so yes, they at this point are in control. And a lot of people don't understand how Satan got title to the earth. Well, that was through the fall of Adam. Okay? How did Christ get it back? You remember when Judas went and took money from the priests to be a traitor on Jesus Christ? And then after the Lord hung on that cross, it dawned on him what had actually happened. Okay, because Judas was in a fallen state at that point. He was inhabited by Satan, right? Which means Satan took 30 pieces of silver in return for Christ, for this earth. Okay? Notice after Christ hung on that cross that Judas, still in his fallen state, went back to the priests and tried to hand them back the money, and they refused, and he threw the money down on the floor. A lot of people don't realize that Judas, aka Satan, sold the ownership to this earth back to Christ. Christ reobtained ownership of this title and deed to this earth back when Judas or Satan accepted that money. Okay? So, but right now, Satan is still ruling and reigning until those seals become opened. He's still ruling and reigning right now on this earth. God is over top of him, but he's letting him have his way because this is the only way. Going through what we're going to go through, what's in tribulation, is the only way this evil on this earth can be demolished, can be done away with completely. Okay? That's why it's important that we are in the time that we are in right now. We do not know the day or the time that Christ will be coming back and the rapture will happen. Yes, the rapture is in the Bible. Okay? Just look up the word rapture in Greek. For those of you who do not understand that by now. But anyway, yeah, we're fixing to come into those times. You know, the electrical buildings, the buildings that everybody are putting up right now, they're buildings saying that they're just for computers. Part of them are for computers. That's why a lot of the water, people are fighting them left and right. They're saying, well, these computers take a lot of water. Well, they do and they don't. Because a lot of these buildings aren't actually for computers. They're for the holding of people. They're big old holding places. This is where people are going to go who do not take the mark. This is where a lot of things are happening. How many of you understand and remember when Obama bought all of those guillotines, like 2,000 of them on our dime when he was in office? You remember those? Do you remember when Hillary Clinton ordered all of those coffins? And they're plastic, or they're like Tupperware, basically. These great big coffins that are sitting out beside what used to be, I mean, they came in on train. So they were all floated and piled off to the side. Yeah, they're still there. They haven't went anywhere. You guys need to understand, I mean, be observant. Be aware. Wake up. Understand what's happening here. All over this earth. It's not just in the United States. It's everywhere. Have you looked at the GPS or the GS yet and noticed how much the earthquakes and volcanoes and tornadoes and tsunamis have ramped up? Just in the last 10 years alone. That's not counting the last 50. Okay? How about the rivers that are drying up? How about, I mean, guys, come on. How about the UFOs? Want to talk about the UFOs for a little bit? Yeah, the ones that we knew were real, that they've hid. Yeah, they hid them for a reason. And this is where I'm going to pick up from, okay? The times of Noah. Okay? When the Lord comes back, we're going to be right back in the times of Noah. So let's kick back to pick up where I left off at. And I am going to read you a scripture. It is, oh, by the way, I'm in Judges now, not Genesis, because I've been reading and studying. And I'm not even about to sit here and read all these books to you that the Lord's had me going through. But what I will do is I will break it down for you, okay? But chapter 2, remember Moses led the people out of Egypt? Remember that he marched them around in the desert, not just once, but twice. Okay? He had to do it the second time because of people's unbelief. And he had to take and march them back around through that desert until that first generation died that came out of Egypt. And the second generation got big enough to be able to do what the Lord was actually needing them to do, okay? Which was, when they entered the promised land, they were to go in and destroy all the people, all the villages, all the animals. They were to take nothing. None of the goods, none of the animals. You couldn't have the flocks for your own. You couldn't anything. Why was that? It took me a long time to figure out. I mean, it took me a couple of years because I did not understand that this was a seed war. A lot of people see what happened here and they're like, well, how could God be so mean? He wasn't being mean. He was protecting his original people. He was protecting mankind as a whole. And that's what we're going to explain here, okay? When the Nephilim were still on this earth, they were doing a lot of bad things. And some of it included DNA. They were messing with DNA. Now, I've told you that they have found, scientists in today's world have found over 200 animals that they had actually mixed up in their DNA. And a few of them are still in existence to this day, okay? Which would include the Bigfoot and the Dog Man and things of this nature. Did they get destroyed during the flood? No. Why? Because the Anunnaki, which were the offspring of the Nephilim, came back. And I'm going to explain how. Said giants were in the earth at that time and after the flood. That's what we're going to get into. Okay? Now, the people that were supposed to, the 12 tribes that were supposed to be going into the promised land and destroying all of these villages. I can't talk today. All of these villages and all these townships, and they were supposed to be taken over because these villages and so forth were sitting in what was supposed to be their land. Well, instead of doing that, once they had went into it for a little bit and Joshua turned them loose and said, now you guys need to help each other and you all fight and you keep taking, getting rid of this, clearing this land, is what God had them doing, clearing the land. Because the DNA in the people that was already in that land had been so messed up, okay, and they were actually worshiping the Anunnaki, thinking that they were gods. They weren't gods. They were the Nephilim offspring who showed up in the skies as a big bright light. Okay? UFOs, guys. Here we go. They did the same thing in Egypt. They did the same thing in, what's the other name of the place? Babylonia. Yeah. Babel, get it? Where the Lord separated the people and dispersed them and gave them different languages and told them to get out there and repopulate. Until he did that, like the third generation past Noah, that's when the Tower of Babel happened. Okay? And that's when the Lord dispersed the people. Well, when they dispersed, they got out there, and of course the giants were still out there at that point, and they convinced the people that they were the real true God. Okay? So we are going to talk about some of this today. But first I'm going to do Judges 2, chapter 2. It said, and the angel of the Lord came up from Gilgal to Bochum and said, I made you to go up out of Egypt and have brought you unto the land which I swear unto your fathers. And I said, I will never break my covenant with you. And ye shall make no league with the inhabitants of this land. You shall throw down their altars, but you have not obeyed my voice. Why have you done this? Wherefore I also said, I will not drive them out from before you, but they shall be as thorns in your sides, and their gods shall be a snare unto you. And it came to pass, when the angel of the Lord spake these words unto all the children of Israel, that the people lifted up their voice and wept. And they called the name of that place Bogum, and they sacrificed there unto the Lord. See, these guys didn't finish getting those people out of the land. Matter of fact, they assimilated with them. And they took these people's gods as their gods. They intermarried, even though their DNA had been loused up. They assimilated with these people. They took on their old habits, took on their old gods, took on everything that they were not supposed to be doing. Okay? Now, you can't figure out where a lot of these giants came from. It's because they continued in their DNA. That seed continued, and that was the seed that the God was trying to wipe out. Okay? We've all heard of the different giants. Our military guys have ran into them. Okay? And got killed by them, and have been killed by them as well. Okay? So, there's giants in Mexico. There's giants in Canada. There's giants. There's a lot of giant bones that was all over the United States that the Smithsonian had that just politely disappeared. You know it. I know it. They found out through some paperwork that did not get destroyed as well as they thought. What they did was Smithsonian took all the evidence, put it on a ship, took it out to the middle of the ocean and dumped it. I mean, even the stuff that was found in the Grand Canyon around the 1900s, the early 1900s, there's newspaper articles saying that the giants had been found. Not just in Grand Canyon, but in Nebraska, there was some found. There was some found in Oklahoma. There was some, just like we have, did you know that you do not have to go to Egypt to look for the temples and stuff that's down there? We have our own, built all over the United States. Yeah, we do. They're in like 12 different states here in the U.S. And some of them are bigger than the ones that are built all over in Egypt. Okay? So, there's a lot of hidden information that I have been finding. A lot. Like, obnoxious amount that I didn't even realize was here. But when you start digging through stuff, and you start digging through old books, and you start digging through things that a lot of people just don't bother looking at, or don't bother studying up on, you find out a lot of different information. It's there, you just have to be digging for it. And that's exactly what the Lord's had me doing. Digging through stuff that most other people have not been digging through. A lot of people just read their Bible and they never learned. It's okay to go to outside sources and verify what's in the Bible, guys. Okay? Me, I love to research. I've always researched. I wrote 2 books and submitted them. Had them accepted. I backed out of the deal at the last minute. I should have went ahead and did it, but I just like to research. I want to find out what makes things tick. And usually if you start in one spot, you'll wind up in 10 more digging through stuff as well. It branches out and it keeps going. Well, these guys, 12 tribes, yeah, they assimilated. And if you look at Solomon, even though David killed Goliath, okay, when he left everything over to Solomon, Solomon branched out as well. He took over 200 wives from these little places that they never wiped off the map. And he married their daughters, and he took over their kingdoms, and he assimilated, he let them set up under their trees and everything and brought their gods with them. Okay? That's how Solomon backed up on God. That's why towards the end of Solomon's life, he was struggling, because he allowed this stuff to get back into where it should never have been. Okay? So, it goes all the way up through. It does indeed. Okay? Now, in today's world, what does that mean? That means that we still have giants. It means that these Nephilim evil spirits are in control of the people that are in control of the U.S. and everywhere else. These big banks, these big corporations, these laws, these people that are sitting in Congress and the House of Representatives, the ones that are or in over different states, the ones that are sitting across the ocean that are in control and running other countries. Yeah, those people. That's why this world is upside down. And what is wrong is being considered right, and what is right is considered wrong. Okay? Now, a lot of their gods, there are principalities over top of these countries. Okay? Evil spirits that are over and helping run all of these countries that a lot of people don't know about. You don't understand that it's not just good versus evil. Okay? Or you're saved or you're not saved. You, as a Christian, need to learn to pray against this evilness that is over this country and pray protection around its leader. Okay, I know, for those of you who just sat there and said, I despise President Trump, I get it. I didn't like Biden. I didn't like I didn't like Obama. I did not like, oh Lord, there's a couple of them. Okay? I actually voted for Obama for change because we all knew that this world was going down a rabbit hole. But we didn't realize that we were going to be helping it go down that rabbit hole. A lot of us didn't that voted for him. But you got to understand, God is not a Republican and he's not a Democrat. Okay? He is God. He's the creator of all things. So while you're sitting here saying, I despise this one, that one, and the other one, you got to remember that God created them and he loves them. And you as a Christian need to understand that every time you stand there and fuss about who and what they're doing and why they're doing it, you're calling, especially since the Lord's the one that's in charge of it. What are you saying every time that stuff comes out of your mouth? You're calling God a liar. Or you're saying that he doesn't know what he's doing. Or you're saying, well, why are you saying all that? You're saying all that because things aren't going your way. We, as a people, do that. Well, I don't like this person because they're doing something that I don't like. God doesn't have to ask us permission before he does stuff. Okay? He doesn't. You don't believe me? Read the book of Job. Job did the same thing. And God come down and told him, who are you to tell me how to do things? Okay? And we need to keep that in mind, because while we're standing here disliking certain, we don't have to like everything. But you can't, don't throw it back in God's face. God knows exactly what he's doing and why he's doing it. God has an agenda he needs to take care of, and he needs things put in place. And he needs the people in there that's going to put those things in place. Whether we like what each one of these presidents are doing or not. We don't understand the full thing behind it. God does. All right? So while it looks like one thing to us, it's actually something totally different. I don't care which side of the fence you're sitting on. I honestly don't at this point, because I know God's in control of all of it. And I just trust God. And I leave it go. And that's what we all need to learn to do, because if we don't do it that way, if you don't trust God enough for him to know that who he wants over this country and who he don't win, then there's a bigger problem here. Okay? And that's something that you need to pay attention to. Just know that the reason why we are dealing with most of the problems that we're dealing with right now is not who's in office one way or the other. It's because who is in these people that are in control and in charge. And it happens to be the Nephilim. Those dirty spirits, evil, demonic spirits that were set loose on this earth after the time of the flood. Okay? They're what's in control right now of the people that are in charge. And not all of them. Which is why there's so much ruckus going on right now, because there's a spiritual battle. There is a huge spiritual battle taking place in behind everything. And whether we like it or not, we don't have to agree with it, but we're not seeing all of it either. We're just not agreeing with the pieces that we're seeing. All right? We don't understand. We are not seeing the full picture. We are not the one that's handling it. We have to learn to trust God and know that he is in control of all of it. And yes, at the end, God will come out on top of this. All right? But he's got people doing certain things right now, and it's not for us to agree or to disagree with. It's for us to be obedient and to do our part in what he needs done right now. All right? Don't ask me how I got on this subject. I'm not even 110% for sure. None of this is what I intended to say, but apparently it was what I was supposed to say. So there's that. And am I going to apologize? No, I'm not going to apologize for speaking out what the Lord had apparently wanted to be said. So here's that. All right, guys, I love you all. I need y'all to understand that first and foremost. And we need to learn to just trust God and let God be God, and not to worry about this. This earth is not political. It's not supposed to have been political. If you are so caught up in the political end of things, that you need to understand that you are being manipulated, and you need to put your eyes back on God where they belong. All right? Don't fall for this mess. Do not fall for the mess of color, arguing about whose color is what and who's better than what. No. It's all a trick. It's all a lie, and it's getting deep, and we need to stop, and we need to put our eyes back on God and walk the way God wants us to walk in him, not what's going on in this earth. Okay? The stuff that is going on in this earth right now, we need to be partner with the Lord and help him. That's why we were put here for this time. Oh, I just felt that. Yeah, God's on that. We need to take our eyes off of this world, off of Democrat, Republican. It doesn't matter. Who's black, who's white, who's yellow, who's orange, who's I don't care. Neither does God. We're all his people. And we need to stop letting them play games with our minds and taking us from one extreme to the other emotionally. Keep your eyes on God and trust Him. Okay? I love you all. I'm running out of time. Okay, so I will make another video and we will pick up where I was where I thought I was going to be led to today. But apparently I was wrong. So we'll do another video. Okay? Hang with me, guys.